right, welcome and welcome and welcome to the Podcast. We are here to just run the gauntlet once again of Raw and SmackDown and the WrestleMania current developing match card. We're gonna start with Raw. Once again, Drew kicks off. Kind of goes just egging on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out. I mean, kind of a normal exchange. Um,
Pretty much.
did you really think there was really much to it? I mean, I know they didn't fight or anything, but like,
They
um,
just try to push each other's buttons.
well, I think Seth kind of got the final word because he's like, oh,
Oh yeah,
you're not
He
gonna do
pissed him
anything.
off.
You're not gonna do anything to rustle my feathers, essentially. But I mean, he does have a point. I mean, because sorry, Drew, you're not on the list of worries.
No,
Um,
Seth is not worried about him at all because he's already beat him twice.
yeah, and it's third time's a charm, maybe. But like, so so
Look at
now
Cody.
right. So you have kind of these again, kind of this hate triangle between Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. Obviously, Becky has a match at WrestleMania, and so I mean, she's just been they're kind of dealing with this whole situation. So you have Becky versus Liv, and obviously, Liv's not
We
gonna
all know
win.
who's in a. Yeah, they're not gonna.
Liv's not gonna win that, and then
No,
Rhea comes out, and they kind of jaw back and forth. And for anybody who's kind of been watching, we'll call the last at least 3 or 4 weeks, where you like, before Elimination Chamber, you basically have Becky saying that, oh yeah, I'm gonna face you at WrestleMania, now that it comes to fruition that she is. So I think it really killed the vibe of Elimination Chamber for the women's match. Um,
it did.
I you know it sucks when you kind of basically lay it out, and so then the match doesn't matter. But you know,
But when Rhea did come out and say Liv Morgan did have some little words for her there. She said
yeah.
she's gonna take anything from her that she loves.
So what are you gonna do? Take Dom?
Eh, nobody wants Dom. Besides, there are some women out there find him as so attractive.
Yeah,
Ooh.
he's an inbred. Um, so after we got that little snippet last week or 2 weeks ago, in regards to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis making a big decision, and was regarding the tag titles, and we really thought, I think most of
It
us thought
wasn't.
they were going to split up the titles.
Yeah, it's not what we
You
thought
know,
it was gonna be.
we thought they were going to split up the titles. They're going to. Instead, they kind of. I mean, I will say they definitely upped the ante though, and it's going to be a huge match. So you have basically a 6-pack challenge, um, for the tag title at WrestleMania.
It's
And
been a
you have a
while.
ladder match.
It's been a while since they had this. The last time they had this type of match is when the Hardy Boys came back at WrestleMania.
And the craziness of it all is that you have a 6-pack challenge, right? But you also have you have 6 teams of 2, so you have 12. So you have 12 guys in a ladder match. That thing's gonna be intense. You know, we don't know where we're still we got the next couple weeks here before WrestleMania to develop the other 5 teams that'll be facing them. Um, and there's plenty to choose from. I think before we got on here, we kind of tallied up. It was somewhere in the realm of 16 tag teams
17.
between Raw and SmackDown. So,
Yeah.
so you have a ton of people, and that's why when we looked at the depth of the tag teams that they have, is why wouldn't they split up the titles? Because you have 8, 9 tag teams on each show. That would be way more entertaining than the 2 main titles, and then basically tag teams go wherever they want, women's tag teams go wherever they want. it would definitely, make the shows more interesting. But, as of now, we're still with the undisputed tag team titles, you know, and so, we'll see how that develops. I think they're gonna have man, I would call it, they're gonna be a lot of strength wrestlers, a lot of technicians. There's gonna be a lot of acrobats. There's gonna be a lot of high flying. Who becomes of that list of 5, we don't know. We'll find out. We'll probably,
all I know, it's gonna be on fire. Any type
oh,
of match like with that many titles, with that with the titles and that many people and plus ladders, ooh, it's gonna be good.
oh yeah, dude. I mean, let alone with 12 people, like not even just a 6-pack challenge with 6 guys. No, 12.
Oh yeah.
So,
And there's no tagging
um,
in. It's everybody fighting
yeah,
at
yeah.
once.
Oh yeah, dude. It's a freaking ladder match, dude. It's gonna be intense. I say honestly, I think that it'll be night 1, probably the kickoff match.
It might be the night
Not
one,
like
it'll be
not
the
not
first
the kickoff,
match.
not the kickoff show, but like the first wrestling match, and I
Ma
feel like that's gonna set the standard.
when it being like this, we all know there's going to be some chairs and some tables in this match.
Oh, dude, there's gonna be a whole plethora of things.
Oh yeah, I
I
can't
guarantee
wait.
you, 5 wrestlers, 5 out of the 12 get hurt. They don't show up
Oh
on
yeah.
Monday.
If they do, they'd be
So
showing up in a lot of fucking straps and tape on them.
right, so now you have, Michael Cole comes out, interviews Cody, and like, you know, I feel like they're just gonna run this every week with the Brock on SmackDown jibber jabbering, Cody jibber jabbering on Mondays. Like, I'm all for the build up, but it's like the interviews and stuff are just kind of dumb. I just wish they would let those stuff just fester, let it just kind of slowly burn till we get there. We don't need interviews every freaking week, but I mean Cody will come out every week and The Rock, is gonna be coming out every week, and unbeknownst to most people, The Rock's not staying around anyways. So
No,
they're basically saying that he, I think it's in July till whatever, he's filming another movie or whatever, so he's gonna have limited um hardcore type of matches. So yeah, I mean it's gonna be a good match. We'll see again. Like I don't think they're gonna have bloodline rules, but
no,
I
definitely
think
not.
my thinking is that so how they talked about they're still kind of dwindling who The Rock's gonna have as the next opponent or whatever, right? And my thinking is, and feel free to chime in, but like Seth loses at WrestleMania to Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest cashes in, right? So I think The Rock and Seth Rollins will kick it at Backlash,
Oh yeah, I
probably
can see that.
just
I
before
can
the
see that.
exit of The Rock.
See, yeah, I kind of agree. I could see Drew winning it because he hasn't won the world title in front of a live audience at WrestleMania. And
Hmm.
then I could see him having it, celebrating for a little bit, and then Damian Priest comes out, or the Bloodline comes out and attacks Drew and hurts him somehow, and then Damian comes out and he cashes in and takes it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Damian's definitely going to cash in. There's no, yeah, I mean, he has till July 1st, and my thought process is that the tag team titles are going to lose. They're going to lose to whoever, and that's going to be, again, like I said, maybe the first, second, third match on night 1. They're going to lose. Rhea's going to lose. So then what becomes of the quote unquote dominant, we run the place Judgment Day when they don't have titles? Like how valid are they without titles? It's kind of like how the bloodline without titles doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
So
That's how they were when they
I,
lost the Usos lost their titles.
Oh yeah, and
to
so
Sammy and Kevin Owens.
yeah,
Bloodline went downhill.
yeah. I mean, obviously, and I think the best thing was for Jay to leave, anyways.
Oh, definitely. He doesn't need them. He can do so much without them.
Yeah.
Jimmy can't
So
do shit.
no, he's not as G as you know. And I always like how they talk about, oh, I'm the bigger brother, dude. You were born what, a couple minutes earlier? Shut up, fucking twins. But and so then you had Jay come out. And oh my gosh, dude, his intro, dude, and he comes out, dude, is so freaking hype, man. It's insane. And you gotta love Pat McAfee, dude, up on there. Just
He's like,
dude, I love Pat
I love it when
McAfee.
Gunter looked at him.
Oh my gosh, right? You get him, Gunther, you get him, because he pissed him off last time. So, but yeah, no, and so Jay obviously challenged his brother for WrestleMania, which I mean
Oh,
was kind of a
I
foregone.
saw that happening.
I mean, it's a foregone conclusion, anyways. It's literally you're in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
That
Like
is true.
it's way too predictable. And then you have Gunther cut a promo just before the gauntlet match. Um, and so you had Ricochet and JD McDonough start. That was a freaking good match. Definitely
Oh
longer than
yes,
I
it
thought
was.
it would be. You know, I think people don't understand how agile freaking Ricochet is. That dude can do freaking anything.
Right now
And
on Instagram, he's been doing a lot of. Looks like he's been warming up in boxing.
yeah, well, gotta broaden the horizons of skills, man. And so so Ricochet beat JD McDonough, and then Bronson Reed was next in the gauntlet, and obviously destroyed Ricochet, not without some early quick offense, but the dude's big Bronson Reed, so
He's a big dude.
and then and then it's like, okay, so Sammy comes out and beats Bronson Reed, probably within like 8 minutes, 10 minutes or so. And then, here comes Shinsuke Nakamura kind of slowly coming out. Bronson literally freaking drops a tsunami on Sammy. Shinsuke basically walked out slowly to think he was going to get an easy victory. But oh no, not on Sammy. And Sammy turned around again and he beats Shinsuke. Dude, that haluva kick, I don't care if you botch it anyway, dude, you're going to get booted in the face.
Oh yeah.
They've honestly said that's
Sometimes
probably
I
one
feel
of
like they do.
that's honestly one of the thing is people don't realize that that's one of the actual really bad finishers, because you're basically running from full tilt from corner to corner and literally booting dude. So if you're any way left or right, dude, you could legitimately get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But and so then you had the final of the gauntlet was Sammy and Chad Gable, which again, great match. I love Chad Gable, honestly. The dude's talented.
Oh yeah,
Obviously he's
he
an
is.
Olympian, so, and it kind of sucks that, he didn't kind of get to run it back against Gunther, but again, we have 2 weeks. I'm thinking that Chad Gable will weasel his way
Work it.
into making a triple threat.
Oh yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah. But again, we have 2 weeks, so it's not like it's, well, probably almost 3 weeks, honestly. But so moving over to SmackDown, I wish The Rock would stop wasting 2 hours of a show they have on 20 plus minutes of him just being stupid and goofy.
Yeah, it is. His kickoff show was just stupid. And then I was been reading online, half of the superstars in the locker room, men and female, are upset with The Rock and his little golden ticket type of style where he can do whatever the hell he wants because he's The Rock and he is one of the boss. Everybody's getting pretty upset with it. And I actually don't blame them because he's only here just for the fucking spotlight because he's not doing very well in the box offices in the movies.
Yeah, I'm definitely over The Rock being back. I just think that, like, you know,
I don't like him.
if we wanted a lazy part timer, well, we already have one. You know, and
We have
we've
two.
said this, yeah, and we've said this before. How, you know, we were discussing, the whole reign
Roman.
of Roman and everything, and I divvied up the averages for so based on their title defenses, or the amount of title defenses and how long they had the title. So it had Bruno Sammartino, basically every 4 days he was defending his title by the average. You had and then you had Bob Buckland, who basically defended it every 2 days by average, which is freaking insane. And then you have, one of the greatest, Hulk Hogan, defending it every 3 days by average. So you have single digit days in between these guys defending their title. And then you go down to weak ass Roman, who defends his title basically every 24 days by average, probably more like a month. And the thing is,
Or every 2 months.
it was more in the beginning. Like, the only reason why his average is even at 24 just because of by the average. But that doesn't mean that he's actually defended it every 24 days. Because when you think about it, when he was in the beginning of his reign, let's call it the first year, he was defending it a lot. And then he basically, when he started doing the whole tribal chief and head of the table and all that crap, he basically dropped down to preferential treatment. And, it's just kind of annoying. But yeah, it's tough to appreciate him basically acting like he's Mr. Dominant and he's not.
Oh, he's
Yours
definitely not.
No, he's got outside interference every freaking time. It's the same crap. So, but so moving down, so you have kind of one of the first tag team qualifier matches, and it's more the bracket. So it's like it's not necessarily that this is the team that won is going, but it's kind of of the tag teams who's basically breaking down to the bracket to whoever's gonna fill one of those spots. And so you had LWO versus Legado del Fantasma. Again, another high flying, super quick, fast paced match. Definitely both teams are very, very talented. It's,
Oh yeah, they both are.
so, and Legado ends up winning that, which is fine. I'm honestly, I like, as far as some of the tag teams and whether they're heel or face, I feel like a lot of the times you just kind of just like the show, man. You just like, the talent and just watching it, right? You kind of drop away from oh, I don't like him because they say this or say that. Like, you just respect the talent of wrestler, like of how
Oh, I
talented the
I
team is.
I like tag team wrestling. Always
Yeah.
have, always will. Because tag team matches usually always put on the best shows.
Oh yeah. I mean, and you're starting to see now, like, some of the newer, tag teams kind of creating their own dual finisher. Like it's cool to watch, man. I mean, it's it's like you have a lot of these newer tag teams, kind of like when um kind of Cody and Jay kind of did the 1D kind of thing, whatever. When you have the New Catch Republic, all kind of has a different finisher. Obviously the Good Brothers, the OC, they have the Magic Killer, which I honestly love that one.
Oh, that's a good
And so,
finisher.
and some of them you're kind of like, you know, not all that entertained by it, but but like I said, man, tag team wrestling is just built different. And so now you have basically LA Knight cutting a promo to basically, say challenge, AJ
AJ
at
Styles.
WrestleMania,
AJ.
and AJ basically came out and, basically kind of at the tail end of his promo, beats him down, accepts
Kicks
the
his ass with a
challenge.
chair.
Oh yeah, dude, that's
Oh,
I don't
that's
feel like
I'm ready for this match. This is gonna be a
oh
good
yeah, dude,
match.
and the thing is
Anything with
again, this is
AJ Styles in it, it's always phenomenal. It's always perfect.
pun intended. Yeah, no, I like that, like, this stuff has been building for a while, versus sometimes you get these matches, even at, like, WrestleMania, they're kinda thrown together. Um, but, so then, that happens, and then you have Jimmy basically, accepts the match at WrestleMania versus his brother. Go figure, we all kinda seen this written in the stars.
You see Paul Heyman's face in the back when he was talking. He was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Are you kidding me? You're going to accept that?" type of
I
face.
think pe I th I think that it's, the devil is in the details. And, like in wrestling specifically, like sometimes the things you're not paying attention to are the things that are most important, right? Because, like The Rock holding up kind of the L, right? And then
Yeah.
You had Paul Heyman notice it, right? And then you had Seth Rollins kind of make fun of that, and then you have, you know, you can see it in Roman's eyes that he doesn't fully trust The Rock.
Who wouldn't?
So, and so it's because it's like, you've been the guy for 3+ years, and then you have your cousin come in and basically kind of overshadow you. So I honestly think, and I think most people think, is that Roman is gonna get screwed over by The Rock. So
Definitely
um
because one, Rock I like his new entrance music. He went back to the theme.
Hollywood Rock.
He came out with a Hollywood theme. And I like the whole new lightning style and all that.
Yeah.
I like the entrance, but I'm not a fan of The Rock. Never really have been.
Well,
He
and
just needs to
I
stick to
think
his movies and leave the wrestling to the people that
yeah,
actually is
I
there every
well
single
because
week.
yeah, exactly, because you get these people that come back, like, when they've had like Goldberg come back, or when Sting came back, like when you get these guys that come back and you're like, why are you taking the spotlight away from people that have been here? Why are you getting opportunities when I'm not? You know, we're all sitting here grinding week in and week out, and we're showing up, 4 or 5 times a week performing, and yet you can't, and you just walk in. Like, I'd be pissed too. Um, so the next match you had was Grayson Waller versus Randy Orton. Obviously, Randy Orton wins. Theory's outside. Um, you know, Logan was
Then
ringside.
You had KO that came out saved Randy Orton.
So yeah, and so and
The worst
so then you
stunning
have him,
to RKO ever.
oh dude, he jumped. Like, it wasn't like he got stunned and like had momentum from that. He basically set up his own RKO. And but the thing is, but that's the joy of wrestling, dude. Because legitimately, like, it's live, dude. You gotta sell it. And it wasn't a good sell job, but you know what? They don't get it perfect every time.
No.
But and so, and you had, Logan Paul basically go into Nick Aldis's office kind of the beginning of the show and basically kind of like talking about how you're supposed to do something about Randy Orton, RKO, and KSI or whatever. And they got like, I love Nick Aldis now. Like at the beginning, I was kind of hesitant, but now I'm starting to see him really be like, dude, I don't care what you think. I'm the general manager. You work for me. And I think Nick Aldis is finally kind of coming into his own because, like I said in the beginning, you're kind of like, okay, he's being kind of shisty, right? But now, like after that, man, he's just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing anything. And then he comes out as if to add insult to injury, putting salt in the open wound. He comes out and announces that the match for Logan Paul at WrestleMania is, I got your opponent. Oh, I mean I misspoke. Your opponents. And I like that. I like that Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are kind of like, they're neutral, like they're good. As far as like professionalism and kind of, there's not really beef between them, but they're definitely gonna love beating up on.
Oh,
They're gonna
Paul
love beating up on Logan
on
Paul,
Logan
dude.
Paul.
He's
Oh
not
yeah,
walking out.
Logan Paul is not going to be walking out of that WrestleMania with that title. If they
Oh,
do allow that, I'm going to be pissed
I think a
because
lot of
he's
people.
just
I
like
think a lot of
Roman
people would
Reigns.
be.
He's just like Roman Reigns. He's there when he feels like it.
Yeah, I
And
definitely don't
I'm
like
I'm
that.
just hoping they give it. I'm just hoping they give the U.S. title to Orton because I don't think Orton's ever held the U.S.
He's held it. Because I think he's a Grand Slam. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Let me look
yeah,
it
I
up.
think yeah, I think he's held it. I think it was way back,
Yeah, he's
but
held the
then again, he got rushed into
old
the.
U.S. title.
Oh man, yeah. So hasn't held the newest. And honestly, like I'm good with either or as long as Logan doesn't win. Like I have no grievance at all with either KO or Orton winning. So so I so now you have a what I like to call a boring, stupid waste of my eardrums listening, wasting my eyes vision, everything with damage control without Bailey is not damage control.
No, it's not.
My mind's blown. Like they're still calling themselves damage control. You're not damage control. You're Kabuki Warriors with with Io Sky and then some Australian girl that literally looks like an advertisement for bulimic eating disorders. But
I still like her.
I mean, yeah, I don't mind Dakota Kai. Like I feel like she's good on the mic, but
I think
I
she's a
don't think
very attractive,
she's not a good wrestler.
but
I
she's a very
definitely
good
think,
gamer.
yeah, for those who
I
game,
watch her gaming streams all the time.
yeah, well, at least she's good at something. But no, she's good on the mic. I think she'll make a good manager moving forward. I don't think that she's gonna do much in the ring, and she's always got a freaking knee brace on, like she's freaking hobbling around.
Yeah, she's gonna keep that knee brace on because I'm thinking how many times her knee's been fucked up and how many times she had to have surgery on it. I think they're now telling her she has to wear it just like Stone Cold had to wear his.
See, and this is kids. This is why you drink milk. Have healthy bones and less broken. Brought to you by 2%, 1% D milk. Drink a glass of milk every day. Because that's why my shoulder got fucked up. Because I don't drink milk a lot, so
That's why my
bones are
body
brittle.
joints are all. That's why my body joints are all messed up.
See, if you're listening, children, 2% milk. You need your milk. Anyways, brought to you by Country Fresh. No, But no. So
or
so
from
like, again,
the state of Michigan by my
right.
company, Meyer.
Myers, Kroger, whatever you want, like just list of every
Myers brand
possible.
Myers
Probably
brand,
like
there's Myers brand milk. We got good milk.
got some great value.
Oh yeah, great stuff. And it always sells out pretty quick.
It's good. It's a great value, but it's got
Oh yeah.
so again, so kind of a again a boring kind of damage control promo. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
kind of
Bailey's gonna
skipped it.
I feel like Bailey's gonna win. I don't think Io's really been defending it all that often, honestly. Same thing with Rhea, honestly. I don't think they've really been defending, the women's title, and at least defending it in like, okay, this
Rhea's
person could
defended her
possibly
title
win.
more than Io Sky has.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe because Rhea's had hers for
A
it'll
year now.
be it'll be a
It'll be a year at
year.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Io Sky, if she keeps hers at WrestleMania, and I don't think she will,
Yeah, she got hers
It'll
in
be it'll
January.
be a year for her at this year's SummerSlam, because she's won it at the
Yeah.
SummerSlam that we went to.
Yeah. And so, I could buy Rhea still winning, but I mean, I feel like
I
the
feel like they're
the
gonna give it
setup.
to Becky.
I mean, they have to. There's no way that they do all this promo work for nothing. They spent 3 months freaking promoting how Becky's gonna go win an elimination chamber and face Rhea at WrestleMania. Like, it's way too much build up to not have something happen.
That's why I say
Um.
the Judgment Day's gonna lose all their titles at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, and that goes back to the tag team stuff, right? I mean, maybe like if they lose to, I think honestly, the team, if I had to pick one, and this is even if they're even in it, is Imperium. I would say Imperium, or I mean, they've kind of dipped away from Chad Gable and Otis, and they've kind of been having them go solo, so I don't think that's gonna be a factor. Um, so I mean, let's see. I mean, New Catch Republic is definitely could be a possibility. Um, Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, that's a possibility. I mean, you basically have 3 from one brand and 2 from the other. So I mean,
Do you do you think
you're
do
pretty
you think they
limited.
might add maybe some tag teams from NXT? Throw those in there?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't put it past it, but they really haven't pushed any NXT to main roster. Um, because they have
Maybe.
is you ha- is you already have um you have Braun Breaker that's essentially to the main roster, but he has the tag
He
titles
still
in
has the
NXT
NXT
with
title. Uh
what's his name,
Baron
Baron
Corbin.
Corbin, and so I mean, maybe they're a late add-in, maybe they lose their titles at Takeover and get a last minute put in, maybe. I
Maybe.
think it's a possibility. I mean, but you also still have Diamond Mine. You know, you have DIY, you have Imperium, you have New Day still. So I mean, you have 5 teams. So I mean, I feel like, Final Testament, I think, will go in either it'll be actually no, I don't think Final Testament will go in because Karrion Kross is by himself. So I think AOP might be in it. Um, which I wouldn't be against AOP either winning too. You brought them back. Now
Same.
they have this whole new faction. I,
Well,
you
I'm glad
know,
they brought him back.
and then maybe, if let's call it AOP wins and they're holding on to those, and let's play the hypothetical game. What if Money in the Bank in July, Karrion Kross wins Money in the Bank? And maybe maybe the Final Testament becomes kind of the new Judgment Day, and the Judgment Day takes a bye-bye. Because honestly, I feel like
I can
this is
see
the
that.
best case scenario for that faction because, Karrion Kross has been basically kind of dwindling for the last probably 4 years, on the main roster, and then got released and then brought back. I like Final Testament. It's just, what do you do when you have 3 guys and going for a tag team title? But, it's up in the air. I mean, but like you said, I don't think that having an NXT call up is out of the question. Again, we still have 2.5 weeks. Anything can happen. I don't think that, you know, I don't think anybody looking at NXT, I don't really see anybody that's on a caliber to get a push. Chase U, no. D'Angelo family, no. Gallus, maybe. Metaphor, no. Out the Mud, maybe. No. Kodakachu, nope. And, they kind of have, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows kind of dual on the list. Malik Blade, no. Hang and Tank, no. Axiom, no. So realistically, I think that the only NXT call up would be Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, because Braun Breaker's already on the main roster essentially.
True.
And so I say they'll lose at NXT Takeover, and then Baron Corbin will go back up to the main roster, and at least they'll be in the match. So I think we still have. I mean, you kind of still have that sleeper pick, that could get called up. So here's another kind of developing one. So you had Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar, which I thought it would push a Santos versus Ray at like WrestleMania, but they're just running it next week on SmackDown, which kind of disappointed. I feel like that could be added on in their WrestleMania.
It should. It's like a WrestleMania match.
I mean, I think anything with Rey Mysterio with a little more emotionally driven matches definitely belong on a PLE. But so you have another one. You have another qualifier match. You got Pretty Deadly versus New Catch Republic. I think I've always liked Pete Dunne. I don't think any
Oh,
the Bruiserweight dude. That
I've
gimmick.
been a fan of Pete Dunne since I've been
You know,
watching Pete Dunne for a long fucking time.
oh yeah, dude. I've been watching him way back in NXT.
Oh, I watched him on the
And honestly,
Indies.
dude, yeah, dude, Tyler Bate, man, big strong boy, man. Like these two definitely are
He's
my
he's the
you know
first ever NXT UK champion. He was the first,
yeah
and Pete Dunne was the
yeah
second.
I definitely I think you can't sleep on Catch Republic, man. Like because Catch Republic is essentially just like a smaller version of New Day, right? Kind of
Pretty
they're
much.
not big guys, but they're they're technical wrestlers, right? And big guys come in there, they have power, they don't have much technique, but when you got guys who have technique, especially Pete Dunne, I definitely think in the near future, I feel like they definitely could be a tag team contender. Hoping that they split up the titles eventually here, but not holding my breath. So you have basically SmackDown finishes out with Bayley versus Dakota Kai, which we all knew that was gonna be a disqualification match. Big freaking whoop.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi comes out at the end to basically kind of aid Bayley. I don't know what is going to become of the women's tag team at WrestleMania. There's been nothing confirmed. There's been no story build up. They're just kind of there. And I feel like that if they want to bring validity to the women's tag team titles, they need to have them defended. And realistically, I feel like they should have Raw and SmackDown titles. I feel like every brand should have their own independent of everything, right? You know, each one has their own men and women's world champion. Each show has their both Raw and SmackDown champions, men and women's. And we were talking before we went on about the whole women's United States champion, the women's Intercontinental Championship. Like that would definitely make wrestling cool, right? Like The Rock said, oh, you made it cool, right? I feel like if they, provide more titles because you see the other brands doing it. I know AEW does it, TNA does it. So like if you want to make wrestling more interesting than just having useless single matches between two females that are really amount to nothing, no real storyline build, you need to have I feel like having secondary titles would definitely push them into a new
A
evolution
new
of
era,
women's
yeah, like a
wrestling.
new like a new era for female wrestling. I think they should have their own United States title, Intercontinental title. It doesn't have to be that type of style. It could be a different name for them, but they should.
Yeah, and
They
so
need to do a lot more stuff for the female wrestlers. They do so much for the men. They don't do much for the women. Women, me personally, I enjoy watching the women matches. They put on a hell of a good matches, but they don't get much credit from the company.
yeah, that's the thing is too is like I was showing you that clip before we went on and everything. And it's just like, the women's wrestling been around for 35 years. They had that that one like all women's pay per view what like probably 4 years ago like
Or
Evolution or
something
whatever it
like
was
that.
called.
Yeah, it was
You
called
know
Evolution.
if you're gonna be evolving, then you need to be evolving. Like you can't just have that pay per view like that and then never have a women's pay per view ever again. You hyped it and then it went straight down. Like you need that momentum moving forward. But so we've after this, last week, we basically so now we kind of have I believe one, two, three. So we have 10 confirmed matches for WrestleMania right now. So obviously card is subject to change. It is WWE. Shit happens.
Pretty
Um,
much.
but as it sits, so you essentially and this is in no specific order. We don't have like the exact dates laid out yet. That'll probably be laid out in the next couple weeks, to certifiably who's on night one, who's on night two. So you have the Rock and Roman Seth and Cody match. Obviously, that's night one. We already know that one.
And
Um,
that's gonna probably be the main event.
which would take away from being, you know, Bailey winning the Royal Rumble. I just think it's kind of a slap in the
Yeah,
face because
it
it
is.
says main event. You literally get a main event match at WrestleMania. Like that's literally in the paperwork, man. But yeah, and then so
Well,
you
yeah,
have
just like what happened with Rhea and Charlotte last year's WrestleMania. That was supposed to
um,
be a main event, and they gave the
yeah,
main event to the Usos, Kevin Owens, and Sammy on night one.
yeah, it's a slap in the face, especially to women's wrestling, when you sit there and say it earns you a main event match at WrestleMania and then you don't get it. You're
And
just
say
sitting there.
Charlotte and Rhea both were pissed, and on top of it, that match was the best match of that night.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And then so you obviously have the Romans versus Cody match. Obviously, night two. You have Io Sky versus Bailey, which
I'm gonna say
you
that's
know
probably gonna be night one.
I would agree with that. And then you have the Rhea Becky, which obviously is going to be night two. You have Seth versus Drew, which obviously is night two. Um, AJ Styles and LA Knight, definitely probably
That
night
might
one.
I was to say I think that was gonna be night one.
I'd say night one mid card. Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in a triple threat. Definitely night one.
Gunter
I would
versus
say,
Sammy. That's gonna be night 2.
and then you have, you have the Judgment Day versus 5 other tag teams in a ladder match.
That should be night 2.
I honestly think it might be night one. Honestly, I think it.
Maybe.
I'm thinking, and just from a production standpoint,
I
it's a
could
lot of
understand.
work.
I could understand it being night 1 because it's a big match. It's a ladder match, and it'll be the best match to start off WrestleMania.
Yeah, I honestly think it would. I think just because of the production value, right? Like if you think about how much it takes to set up, the ladders and everything, and I feel like that would be a good night one kickoff. Just
Oh yeah,
getting the freaking
definitely.
momentum rolling. Um, and then so you have, so again, that one's kind of in the works as far as who's the other 5 teams. I believe it was either 3 from SmackDown, 2 from Raw, or 2 from SmackDown, 3 from Raw, one of the 2. And then, so we'll obviously, wait to see how that pans out and who's, you know, making the list, and we'll continue to update the list as far as that. Um, and then obviously you have the Jimmy versus Jay, um,
I'm
which
gonna say
that's
that's night
been
2.
brewing.
Oh yeah,
I
all year.
I and well, the thing is, I think night 2 is really stacked. So I think maybe, like, and it's tough because it's brother versus brother, right? And, you know, if you put it on night one's stacked out the gate, so is night 2. So it's like either way, it's gonna be a middle of the night match. We'll call it
hmm
like an 8:30, 9 o'clock match because I think
I'm
it
gonna
starts at what,
call it. I'm
7?
gonna call it to either be the out of either if it's night 1 or night 2. I'm gonna say it's either gonna be the second match or it's gonna be the third match.
Yeah. Yeah, because it starts at 7, I believe.
7.
Yeah. So like probably like an 8:30, 8:45 match. We'll call it goes for about 20 minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's, I'm glad they're finally duking it out because ever since Jay left, we've been waiting for this,
Oh yeah. Well,
you know?
I
And
had a
so
feeling
like,
it was going to happen.
oh yeah, I mean, well, the thing is too is like it's a perfect lead up being in Philadelphia, being the city of brotherly love, right? So like, it's just only fitting to have that match, so I mean, I it's gonna be brutal. I'm surprised. I'll be surprised they don't put a stipulation on that match
Yeah,
because
this is going to be the third match at a WrestleMania with a brother versus brother. You had the first one. I can't remember what WrestleMania it was. I think it was WrestleMania 10, and it was Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, and then you had WrestleMania 25, Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy, and now you got this one.
well, and you've had I don't know if they were on WrestleMania, but like,
Oh yeah,
the
you had
this
Undertaker. Can't really count those as real brothers. That's a
Brothers of
story.
Destruction, man, close enough, but like, dude, the amount of matches that like I felt that will never happen again, like, like, so when they had the Inferno match, right?
Oh, that
With
was a
like
good
the
match.
fire around the ring, dude, and every time it slammed, the flame just
Oh yeah.
well in the Bray Wyatt RIP versus Randy match, that would only work, in the pandemic. Because like obviously it's not gonna burn the guy alive. Like we're not stupid,
Why?
but it was really good.
Yeah. Plus, you had the fire in the audience.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, oh man. Yeah,
That was a
no,
good match.
yeah, man. Have you seen any update as far as the Hall of Fame card yet?
I know they added. You got Paul Heyman, some chick that I can't remember her name off the top of my head. You have
Is that Bull?
Ali.
Yeah, is that Bull Mikado or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it says 2 more potential names. Come on. The Farfignugan. It says there's talk that Bray Wyatt and Leah Maivia will round out the year's class of Hall of Fame. But what are they gonna do for Leah Maivia? Are you gonna give her the Warrior Award? Like they haven't announced a
Probably.
Warrior Award. Did they have a
No, they
Warrior Award
haven't.
last year? Because the last Warrior Award they had
Yeah, they
was
did. They did. I can't remember who it was.
Oh well, no, they had 2 years ago they had Shad Gaspar, right? I think that was.
Yep.
Was he in there? Was he the and then the year
He was
prior,
Chad was the one where we were at.
yeah. I think here. I'm looking at who's won. Says
You had Rey
says
Mysterio last year.
Connor was the original in 2015. 2016 was Joan London. 3 was Eric LeGrand. 4 was Jarius J.J. Robertson. 19 Sue Aitchison. Number in 2020 it was Titus O'Neil. 2021 was Rich Hearing, and 22 was Shad Gaspar, but it does not list anybody for
Yeah, they didn't have one last year.
2023.
They didn't have one. I looked. The only people
So
they had for whoops, wrong thing. Just had it. Were Stacy Keibler, Andy, I can't pronounce his damn last name.
Andy
The
Kaufman?
great, yeah, and the great Multu, whatever, and then Tim White, and then Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, so I mean,
It was just those 5.
It's a little bit weird that they don't have a Warrior Award for last year. Nothing this year.
It's insane. Yeah, they had it every year, and last year was the first time they didn't have it.
Yeah, it was 2015 through 2022. They had it. Last year they didn't.
Yeah, because they had it when we went.
Because it's like, how do you not have the prestigious award? But I digress. But yeah, so we're gonna kind of call this a day. So again, we'll be back next Sunday. Hopefully we have more tag team title on the list of the 6-pack challenge versus Judgment Day. We'll see if there's a couple more matches that get filled out. Definitely the women's tag team should be something. I hope it develops in some of the next couple weeks. I mean, they have a couple potential that they could have, maybe like a 4-pack challenge or something, or a fatal 4-way. Maybe that would produce more talent, and then them still holding on to the titles. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks here. This is the Lockdown Podcast.